guys, welcome to another top 10 video. This one is going to be top 10 products from Maybelline, so a classic brand. When I did my e.l.f. one, which was kind of the first one I've redone recently, that was based on a video I did 15 years ago on my channel. I saw the thumbnail and I was like, I need to redo that concept. So we did top 10 from e.l.f. It got great feedback and a lot of requests for various drugstore brands. I think all drugstore brands were mentioned, and I'm happy to do the high-end brands that I'm really familiar with as well. But today it's going to be Maybelline. I know there's a lot of interest for Milani as well, and I was trying to do that, but I still have a few things on the bubble from Milani that I'm trying to figure out. Several newish things that I'm trying to learn about. But anyway, Maybelline. The way I'm going to do this is apply all the items in chronological order for the way I'd put them on my face. It's not a top 10 like lower end of the top 10 all the way to the #1 best product. It's just how I can show them and talk about them. And what you're going to find with Maybelline is that the entire complexion routine is in this top 10. So I think that's actually pretty remarkable. So #1, it's my Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. Love this stuff. This is probably my favorite glowy primer from the drugstore. It's way down to the bottom here. I don't necessarily agree with the claims on the bottle. A primer, yes. Concealer? Highlighter, maybe. BB cream, possibly. This is an amazing glowy primer to use. It's sort of the vibe of a Hollywood Flawless filter. If you see it across my face there, do you see how it's kind of some skin tone mixed with some glow? But this product is doing it in the absolute thinnest way possible, and I love that about it. And I feel like it's paired so well with a handful of different foundations, giving my skin that added little radiance boost underneath, but honestly being good for staying power too. Like, you get this immediate satisfying freshness to the skin, and yeah, you can see some glow, but it's not as intense as Hollywood Flawless Filter, as the e.l.f. dupe of that, as L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. It's just a softer, lighter product. And I do also have a deeper shade that I'll use as a contour, but my #1 function for it is using the light and using it like primer. Love that. Then #2, we go into a foundation, and there's definitely a foundation I absolutely love from Maybelline. This one has really taken the top spot over the years, going back all the way to my apartment days. I do remember talking about Maybelline Superstay. That was around the time when Superstay, the foundation, was launched and new, and a really great product. And we felt like front-runner Longwear products like Revlon Color Stay and Rimmel Lasting Finish really had a major contender. Well, time passes, and Maybelline has their Superstay 24-hour skin tint, and I think this is elite. There was a while where I had this on hand, but it went kind of underused because I'm between a couple of shades. I have a shade that's too light and a shade that's right now maybe just verging on a little too dark, 130. But they say it's a skin tint with vitamin C, 24 hours. The staying power is really, really good. Now, it has the dropper. I could probably replace that, like I have my L'Oreal Hyaluronic Tinted Serum, but we just get some of this around. And what I feel like it is sort of a more natural look on the skin, more natural texture foundation in comparison to the original Maybelline Superstay, which was still pretty good. But I give myself a few dabs, and I'm using this little angled brush from my TikTok shop set that I got. Like I said, this is a little dark, but it's all gonna work in the end, don't worry. But you look at the product in the bottle, and there's some glow, you know, you can tell there's a little luminosity in this, but yet it gives some really great coverage. So I am absolutely a believer in this one. I think it's one of the best Longwear products in the drugstore right now. And that gentle glow, let me tell you, even if I don't pair it with that primer, you will still see that a little bit out of this product. But it's not too much. It ends up looking thin, natural, but wears like iron. This plus, you know, taking the effort to set it somewhat, my skin really loves it. So I'm just really making sure to blend it down my neck. This is one of those, I guess, higher level drugstore foundations. You know, it's giving glow, it's giving the thinness, and then also the staying power. It's doing several things for me really well. It's gonna cost a little bit more than the average foundation, but yet it's also not as much as high end, and it's one of those things that kind of makes you question the amount you pay for different high end things, because because of the really well-rounded experience you can get with this. So that's number 2 on my list, the Superstay Skin Tint. Number 3, I would have to mention the Maybelline Age Rewind Concealers. Now, I've talked recently about 2 different brightening products. One was the NYX Pro Fix Stick that I used in I think a Get Ready With Me video. Very good corrective product. It's coming out of a stick, a twist-up stick. And then also e.l.f.'s Putty Color Correcting Brightener. Very good product too. It has kind of a richer consistency in a little pot. This would be a texture for those who want it to be quite a bit thinner but still want access to that pinky tone brightener. I have 2 of these. Number 1, I've got a kitten that's just climbing around here, but I've got 2 of these. One shade is fair and one shade is brightener, and definitely 2/3 of both have been used up. They're great products. I'm going to use the brightener. And yeah, it's just a thinner, lighter take on the correcting and brightening process. And there have been a lot of times I've thrown this on and, you know, used it anywhere I needed concealer and let that be the concealer. It's not incredibly pinky toned. I'm just going in with my foundation brush. It's got that nice little ankle on it and I can reach my inner corner. And look at that. It's an excellent concealer for people trying to keep it a little more thin and natural and not over dried. I've always felt like this line of concealer really could cover, but maybe not as extreme as an e.l.f. Camo concealer, but still quite good, you know, really getting up there and managing to be a little bit lighter on your skin, okay? If you want a brightening shade that's still brightening but not pinky toned, isn't there one called Neutralizer, I want to say? Okay, I gotta really get into that inner corner there. But look at how great that did as my concealer today. And looking up closer to my under eye area, it doesn't even look like there's makeup there. This is one of those products you never get too far from. If you've used it, if you've loved it, you've even gone and tried other newer concealers, you always come back to this and you can still appreciate what it's doing because you just feel like it's a lighter take compared to all those other full coverage concealers. This is able to approach that coverage but have a really light feel. Rolling right along, like I said, we're gonna have the whole coverage routine included in this video, and it's not because, oh, I just want to show all my coverage steps. These are things that legitimately earned their way into this top 10. And it's probably no surprise that the Fit Me Loose Powder in Fair is in here. This is the best drugstore loose powder in my opinion. It would be my number 1 top pick. There's something about the shade Fair that if you're my kind of skin tone, it's the utmost brightening. Okay, and it doesn't look too heavy, and you can use your little e.l.f. pinky puff with it, any kind of puff that you like, and then dust away the excess, and you feel like, yeah, I'm really set. And I'm just putting it kind of generously around my nose because I know that's a staying power breakdown kind of place. And I also know this is going to just work great with that Superstay Skin Tint that I put on, which I always feel funny calling that a skin tint because it's so much more. It's basically a full coverage foundation. And there's a lot of other skin tones in this product too. That also kind of sets it apart from like a Wet n Wild Photo Focus Loose Powder, which is another great thing, but you don't have all the color options. This, you could be a deeper skin tone and still find something that's accurate for what you need. You need a sip of coffee? We got the snowman mug. It's got a few nicks, but I still love this mug. My Christmas decor was gonna go up in here last night, but Belle came home with actually a lot of homework, and then the math part of it, we kind of had to discuss that a little bit. That literally was not adding up, and I've never considered myself to be the best math person, but I was able to figure some things out. And as you can see, we're just kind of dusting away, pressing in. There wasn't too much excess on there, but look how smooth and even that under eye looks. The nose feels really set. And then I will take this extra step that's coming up, and it's product number 5. So we're already halfway through our top 10. But you guys know this is a little secret weapon product here, this Superstay 24-Hour Hybrid Powder Foundation. I have it in 128, and that's probably the shade I need the foundation in too, because I'm 130 here and it's a little dark. But this is a really, really soft, creamy, buttery feeling powder foundation. Can be used as actual powder foundation. You could pop on that brightener and then you could buff this in all over your skin and have a powder foundation look. But I very lightly, I feel like this makes a difference on top of so many different foundations. I get a little bit on my BK Beauty 107 brush, or pick any powder brush you like, and we're hitting the areas where there wasn't loose powder applied. So kind of steering clear from the under eye. Under eye doesn't need anything more, but getting the rest of the face, I'll even run over the nose with that. Go over the forehead. I can't stress enough I'm using a light amount of this powder, but the surface of my skin feels uniform, not tacky. I mean, it did add some coverage, which I wasn't even needing or really looking for, but what I'm wanting is that kind of like staying power insurance, you know? This is a great product that Maybelline makes. Again, it's a good powder foundation in its own right, but if you pair a little bit of this, or even think of it as a partner to any lightweight actual skin tint or tinted moisturizer that you think could use a little more coverage. I've always believed in using a powder foundation to kind of level up those products and ultimately give you a more even look on your skin and better staying power, of course. So there we are, complexion steps, definitely getting into the top 5 of Maybelline here. We've got our Perfector 4-in-1, our Super Stay Skin Tint, and I welcome any other ideas in the comments section. We used our Instant Age Rewind, just the brightener shade today, did very well for us, our Fit Me Loose powder, and then our Super Stay powder foundation. So Maybelline is definitely a brand you can look to if you're trying to establish a really good foundation routine. One thing I have noticed, when I stay with the certain brand for complexion steps, things usually pan out for the best for staying power. And I really don't think I'm just in my head on this one or like going cuckoo. I feel like when I use all Rimmel, the look comes together better. When I use all Maybelline, it comes together better. The other day I stayed in my lane on CoverGirl and I was using my Outlast foundation, my Outlast concealer. I'm kind of feeling like some things are formulated to actually work well together. But those 5 products for complexion are so good. I'm going to continue on with a few steps of the face and then we'll move on to our next product. We're back. I filled in the steps of bronzer, blush, and highlight. I just used this little Master Contour palette. This is actually the medium to deep and it doesn't seem all that deep. I mean, look at that blush, right? But it's pretty enough on my skin. There wasn't anything from this category that just was fighting its way into this top 10. So I used all 3 of those things in that palette. And then I filled in my brows with a brow pencil. And then the number 6 product on my list is my Brow Fast Sculpt. My tube still says Brow Fast Sculpt. Some places you see it labeled as that. Some places you see it labeled as Express Brow. But what we're talking about is this little brow mascara product that has the perfect brush. This can be good if you want to use this and this alone in your brows. I want you to look at the bottom part of the brush and see how the bristles are longer. So they're great for just combing through. And then the shorter bristles up top, more product's going to be held there. Product from the shorter side is going to more easily lay down in your brows. So you have that 1-2 punch of the lay down of product and then the bristly side that's gonna comb through without getting too much on, and it has amazing hold. It does give some tint to your brows too, so that's why I say it can do the job on its own. If you were doing a really quick, like cutting corners type of makeup look, this and this alone on the brows could be good. But you just immediately feel the hold. And my tubes of this tend to last me a long time and stay fresh and doing their job for a long time. But I have repurchased this probably 3 times. So that's been since maybe 2019-ish that I've been talking about this. If anybody's been with me consistently, you know this gets talked about all the time. It's like the Milani eyeshadow primer of Maybelline's line. I can't stress enough the immediate hold you feel once this goes through your brows. It's really great. I'm gonna need to move through and do some other steps still because yeah, Maybelline's big time lacking for me on great eyeshadow options. If you even look at Maybelline's offerings on Ulta's website, they're not even like really selling eyeshadow there. You can look to Walmart and you're gonna find some of those more old school quads and some of the City Mini palettes, which are good. But again, when I'm placing things in this top 10, I have to stop and say, now, if you're about to put that in the top 10, is that head and shoulders above like the e.l.f. matte palette that you just talked about last week? And if I have to say like, no, it can't be as good or better as other things that I'm really thinking are top tier, then it's not gonna make it in here. I'm trying to consider the best of Maybelline, but also the entire drugstore scope. What is good when all products are considered? And if it's not really measuring up with that thought, then it's not gonna be included. So some more things are gonna happen and I'll be right back. Alrighty, my friends, I did some Milani eyeshadow primer, and can I just say that if the Maybelline Nudes of New York palette was still available, that would 100% be in this top 10. I think that's an amazing palette. I think they should re-release it, making making no changes, but just like make sure it gets in all the stores. I don't know. It seems to be not a thing anymore, but that was gold from Maybelline. It was really a fantastic neutral palette. But I just did a quick little eye look today. I used my City Mini palette, which is another good palette option. Yes, there are good things from Maybelline that are still not within my top 10, but this is the shade Matte About Town. And I just have that very smoothly and cleanly there all over my lids. And it's going to bring us into our next product in the top 10. And this is the Color Tattoo Stick. I think this is a good range of products that Maybelline is doing here, because not only does this line include some shimmer, I've been sent some even in PR, but we have matte options as well. And this shade called I Am Determined is a very good basic to have. It's a matte brown, not too light, not too dark, and the staying power is really, really good. And it's kind of providing that thing that I'm not getting from L'Oreal's line of shadow sticks, and I'm not finding it within Hard Candy's line either. But you can use this along your lash line if you want to provide some easy, what I call lazy liner, just a little definition there. You know, no big deal. I'm keeping it to like the outer 2/3 of my lash line. You can do this. This works fine in this way, of course. But the main thing that impresses me about this and other shadow sticks is how I can put it on my lower lash line and it gives me that hard to put your finger on, like, oh, she's got eyeliner all the way around her eye. It's not that look. It's like just a really softly defined kind of thing going on here that pretty much looks pre-smudged as it lays down, and it doesn't move, okay? Eyeshadow can drift, but eyeshadow sticks that set, they'll stay in place for you. And can you see the depth level of that? How it's like not too dark, not too light. So it's kind of hard to put your finger on. That's what I mean. Like if someone would glance at your eye, it's been so softly defined there that it's not stark. All right, a non-stark way to define, and it's matte. So if I've been using the cold brew stick and you're like, I like that idea, but I don't want any shimmer down there, consider this. This is the shade I Am Determined, and it's from Maybelline's Color Tattoo Stick line, and they have a lot of some kind of out there shades too that you might not have even considered, but for basic everyday wear, this is phenomenal. So here's the finished eye look, my friends. I know Maybelline has some iconic mascaras, some much loved mascaras, but there's nothing that's really fighting its way into this top 10 for me personally. I do like the Firework one that I've been using on and off in videos. It's okay for me, but it's not amazing. I really don't have a certain Maybelline mascara that's just knocking my socks off. Now, all of our lashes are very individual, so you may have something you love. You may have something you want to recommend to me. I have not the thickest, not the longest, and also want to point downward type of lashes. So if you've got a Maybelline recommendation for that, I'm all ears, but I just don't have one in my top 10 today. But I put Wet n Wild So Defined Mascara on my upper lashes, a little bit of Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water on the lower lashes, and then our last 3 spots in this top 10 are devoted to lip products from Maybelline. The strengths from Maybelline are really strongly in the complexion and the lips for me. I would love to hear your take on this. Do you feel like there's an abundance of eye things that are wowing you from Maybelline? Other than Brow Fast Sculpt, other than that one crayon, I'm not wowed. But 8, 9, and 10, we're going to get into 3 products that I know you've heard me talk about a lot. The matte ink crayons. So Maybelline put out their Super Stay Matte Ink liquid lipsticks, and they wear like iron. They're really, really good. They are a classic liquid lipstick. You can apply them thin and you'll have that thing all day. But there's something about the ease of the matte ink crayons that also wear a really long time. Maybe not quite as long as the liquid lipsticks, but still really good. Great shade range. I love these so much. Live on the Edge is my go-to. This is the one I find myself often combining with other things. It's kind of a deep, dusty rose, kind of burgundy, kind of not too dark. But I'm just going to pop this on. I'm putting it on as like light as she'll go. The thing I love about these, they go on so smooth. I've always felt like when a matte ink crayon touches your lips, it almost feels like it's melting down for a second and just has a perfect glide. And then she just kind of stays in place for long wear. That's Live on the Edge. Lead the Way, I think that was the first one I ever tried from this line. A really basic, anyone can wear it pinky shade. I have berries, I have reds, I have an orange. The experience with them is going to be so consistent. Just pick the shade you like. And if you want your tip to stay defined, there's a little sharpener on the end. But that's my number 8 thing. Moving into number 7, I'm going to have to say the lifter glosses. I was a little bit of a lifter gloss snob at first because I just felt like, gosh, there's so much that comes off of these big buckfoot lip gloss applicators, you know, everything's sized up recently. And you feel like when you get a lifter gloss on your lips, it's almost too much. I felt that way with the Fenty gloss bombs, exactly. Like my lips feel a little bit smothered. Well, what I continued to do was I kind of paced myself. I would sometimes work off of the back of the applicator or just really softly off of where it picked up product, and I would never be going back for more, and I would get the minimal amount on, and I'd feel like, wow, these look really good. And not only do they look good, but they go on in such a non-streaky way. And there's some really beautiful colors, and as soon as they expanded their line for not just shades like this is Moon. This is one of my faves, but see how it's got the shimmer? Love that. But once they expanded to like these kind of jelly colors, this one's Sweetheart. I keep the one called Taffy, which looks like this, but berry. You think it's gonna be kind of transparent, but it actually shows a beautiful amount of color on your lips. But once they came out with those, let's finish the story. Then lifter glosses were really solidified as a very good gloss range from the drugstore for me. One of my favorites, because then they really showed some variety. And they have some deeper shades here too. I've got a color up here. Rust is a good one. There's one that's called Heat that I really like. Brass is good. There's so many options. I'm going to take Moon though right on top of this. And this is not a new gloss by any means, so there's not really too much coming off on my doe foot applicator. Look at that. And the feeling. There's a richness in this gloss. There's a moisturizing quality to it. A thickness that says, I am not even capable of looking streaky, even when just lightly applied. Like, look how even and great that looks. So that's Moon. That's probably the number 1. That's my OG. But these other ones, like, look at how Sweetheart, if I just swatch it on my hand, like she's really got color there, okay? It's like a soft red on your lips. And like I said, Taffy lives with me in my little like belt bag 24/7. It's the perfect like berry glaze. So love that stuff so much, and that's gonna get into my number 9 spot. Now number 10 is yet another lip product from Maybelline, and this is really exceptional for staying power. This stuff will stay on your lips like the entire day, and it's like the new era of liquid lipsticks, and it's their Super Stay Vinyl inks. If you are one who really needs it to stay on there and you don't want to be touching it, fussing with it, looking at it another time throughout the day, like you just literally want to put this on once and not be responsible for anything lip related the rest of your day, this is the type of thing you want to go for. Okay, so I'm going to pop this on. This is the shade called Lippy, and I feel like it's kind of a standard, really good, anybody would like it type of shade. But there's a lot of really good like nude and neutral toasty sorts of shades in this line. And something about this is that this is going to be your all-in-one product, okay? It's your full opaque, thin feeling color, but it has a little shine, especially at the onset. That shine is not going to last you the entire day, but it's going to last you a little while. But it's going to be a one and done lip product here. The definition of a liner, the full color of a lipstick, and the shine of a gloss. Not outrageously shiny, but some shine for a time. So it's not a product that's prompting something else to be added to it. When you put a gloss over a matte ink crayon, you got to be aware that you're going to be knocking down the staying power of that matte ink crayon a little bit, because if it was just worn as is, it would wear a really long time. But you start putting glosses on top of these liners and lip colors and all these things that are meant to be long wear, you have to know that you are affecting the staying power, right? You're kind of like re-liquefying something that's trying to be set. This product, one and done, right? You're not going to be wanting to do anything but this when you have this on. So again, the shade is called, isn't it Lippy? Yeah, Vinyl ink. So thin, so light feeling. Coat the bottom lip to the top lip, and then you'll notice how little you actually need. Do you see what I mean about the shine? Not an outrageous level shine. I mean, when I say shine of a gloss, that's probably a little bit overstating it. It's more like the shine of a cream finish lipstick, but you got something there, okay? And you got a feeling on your lips that's just not as dry as your standard liquid lipstick. But a really solid lip product and about as indestructible as they come. Like if you were going to tell me, okay, put something on that you don't have to worry about at all for the rest of your day, I would be strongly considering one of those. But there's my look for today, my friends. Thank you so much for watching this top 10. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Give a request in the comments section. And also chat about some of the things that I did not mention in this video. If you've got something that you absolutely love from this range that you think others need to know about, talk about it in the comments and we can all learn something. But that is my personal Maybelline top 10. Thank you so much, friends. I appreciate your time and I will see you soon. I love you. Bye.